Welcome to the Rise Up For You podcast and webinar series on becoming your best. I'm Lauren Sweeney. I'm your host, and I'm the vice president here at Rise Up For You. We want to make sure that you access our very free Success Kit. It's chock full of ideas, tools, videos, and workbooks to help you be your best this year, 2023. Our guest today is actually a Rise Up For You team member. Tammy Moretti is our expert confidence and leadership coach, and she's going to bring you all the wisdom today. But first, let's dive into the podcast.
Everything you need is already inside of you. The world would not be what it is without you. When we begin to create change within us, we begin to create change in the world around us. Your journey to becoming your best self as the whole person starts right now.
Well, Tammy Moretti is our confidence and leadership expert. She comes to us live from San Diego, California, and she has many, many years of being a leader in direct sales. She's also certified as a yoga instructor. She's very intuitive and incredible with people. She's a professional confidence and business coach, backed by years of owning a thriving business and leading a team. She loves emotional intelligence, building people's self-awareness. She loves to also shoot it to you straight. She loves to bring some humor and creates energy wherever she goes. She loves to lead and therefore build leaders. And she has a growth mindset. So we're so excited to have her on our show today. Tammy Moretti, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi, what's up, girl?
In studio today. So
I know.
Tammy, how did you get interested in the space of building confidence and leadership?
Well, I've always liked leadership because I'm a recovering control freak. So I liked being in front and directing the team because I didn't like to take orders. And as right. So if I was to be completely transparent, which I appreciate in people, and then as time went on, I started to study leadership and what it really meant, as opposed to just, believing that that's where I belonged. I really didn't know what it meant or how to do it well. I could get to a certain place in my profession of my quote own accord, but then there always came a place when things kind of got wonky or started to fall apart, or I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And this happened time and time and time again. And I realized that I needed to educate myself and lift the lid on my thinking. And so I dove in, started exhausting every resource I could get my hands on, listening to podcasts, deprogramming myself, reprogramming myself, and fell in love what leadership really meant. And here I am.
I love that. I love your honesty too. I am also a recovering control freak. And, it's interesting though. I've always been interested in, like, how do I build my confidence? How do I grow? How do I change? I'm also a recovering people pleaser, as you know. And, it's like, how do I create better boundaries? Well, I've watched you in action really bring out the best in people and connect with people. What do you think helps you with kind of being an incredible coach and that intuition you have?
Well, good question, actually. So I'm a firm believer in asking good questions because you get great answers. And I practice that for myself. I try to ask myself really good questions to get good answers. And I think intuition is innate in some respects, but also it is a learned skill. I mean, as women, I believe we're intuitive by nature, but the more we work with people, the more I've worked with people, and I've had different experiences with people over time, I've become more intuitive to the person in front of me. And that helps me in communicating with them and showing them other opportunities and getting out of myself and jumping in the boat with them and helping them navigate. Because I believe everybody has a sign around their neck, which this make me feel important, and I've become more confident, and that has allowed me to focus on the other person and not worry about myself.
Yeah,
Confidence is
absolutely.
everything.
For
Mhm.
sure. And as we know, about 83% of working professionals today lack that self-confidence, right?
For sure, for
And
sure.
so how do you feel that you're able to kind of put your ego aside to pay attention to others and show up, be honest, but not have it be about you? Do you have any tips if someone's listening and that's a tough one for them?
Um, well, that's a loaded question. So, there's a lot of pieces to that, I believe, Lauren, and being more confident. Actually, a lot of confidence for me comes from, again, experience. So doing things that were appeared to be frightening and risky, taking the step anyway, because I've learned that action's the only thing that moves me through the fear, and I'm still here. So obviously I lived through whatever monster I can screwed in my mind. And the more I did that and practiced that and built that courage muscle to move and trust the process, the more confident I became that things are going to work out. And that happens over time in life experience, because we can read book after book after book, which I have, and I'm sure you have as well. We hear what they say, we hear it, but until we take action and we move through it and get on the other side of the big monster, we don't have any experience. And what's the greatest teacher? Experience, right? So experience, that I'm going to live through it, is really what helped me build that confidence muscle. And so that's how I coach my people. Um, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. That experience. I also like what you talked about. You talked about how you read books and you've taken lots of courses. I think that a lot of our listeners, they're leaders, they're entrepreneurs, they've done the same.
Oh, for
What
sure.
do you think is a game changer, though, in terms of actually activating the things that maybe we've read or we've heard or we've listened? Because we could read all day, doesn't mean we're going to do anything with the information.
For sure. That is an absolute true statement. So it's funny you said that, because I was thinking about that this morning. And I thought, okay, what what gets me into action? Well, there's a few things that I came up with. I want it really bad, whatever it is. I want it. So if I want it, and I've made a decision, I'm going to get it, moves me into action. And the big hairy monster isn't as big of a deterrent to me, because it's just part of the process. But am I thinking about the big hairy monster? No. I'm thinking about, I want it. I want it. I'm getting it. That's part of it. Also, being connected to going deeper. Why do I want it? And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's ego, why I want it. Other times it's people centered. I want it for, I would say, my family, and so if that's bigger than my fear. And like I just shared with you a moment ago, the big hairy monster isn't as big because I've made a decision that I'm going to get it, whether it's for myself, whether it's to feed my ego, whether it's to help another person, or whether it's for my family. I'm connected to the want and the why. And that's what gives me that courage. And then maybe a martini. No, I'm kidding.
Right?
I'm
I love
teasing.
that. You know, I told you, Tammy just brings it to us real. I do like too that you said your why is strong enough. And if some of us listening, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs that we coach here at Rise Up for
Right,
You.
right.
And
For sure.
sometimes you do need outside accountability. You do need someone to, coach you and give you that outside counsel, because we don't always have an accurate self-assessment. And so
Correct.
while your why might be hyper vigilant, hyper strong, not everybody has that. And so if you're listening, you're thinking, gosh, I keep reading the books, I keep taking the courses, and my actions aren't changing. Perhaps you need to talk to somebody outside our own. Do we have four walls in our head? I don't think so. Our own brain.
For sure. Yes, absolutely. We were created for community. I mean, we're people, we're human beings, and we're created for community, and we're always better together. Always better together. And there's strength in numbers. And, having a person that has your best interest at hand, and I always used to like to use the analogy of the forest. See the forest and the trees. Well, said person may be in the forest and they don't even see the trees, but somebody else can see that you're in the forest and they can also see the trees and help you navigate. However, again, you have to want it bad enough to reach out and get help. And a lot of times we hear that, we've heard it said, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Sick and tired of reading the books. Sick and tired of reading the books. Like, I've done it all. Read the books, take the podcast, listen to the podcast, la, 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 la. But I haven't asked for help. And as women, and even men, I think that's probably one of the hardest things there is for us to do, is to ask for help, to be vulnerable with ourselves and admit we need help, and then to be vulnerable with another person. And when you're a strong personality like you or myself, Lauren, we absolutely, and any of you others that are listening that have strong personality, we need accountability. We need accountability for sure. That's always the secret sauce for me, because I'm determined. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Now, do I keep that agreement with myself? If there's another person involved, you bet I do, more so than if it's just me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That accountability, and then it's also having that tribe. So maybe
For sure.
we hire a coach, right? Maybe we have a
Absolutely.
mentor. We
Mm-hmm.
also have
That we
somebody who's
respect.
maybe exactly that constructive trustee. Like, we have people around us. I heard this great quote. We've heard the quote, you become like the people you hang around. But
Mm-hmm.
then they expand it and they said, you become like the five people you hang around.
Mm-hmm.
That sphere of influence, because the five people that Joe hangs around, even if you've never met them, are still influencing Joe. And if Joe's spending time with you, he's influencing you in your health goals, in your money, and all the different areas of the 6 pillars that we talk about at the company here.
Absolutely. And something else that has been very helpful, a lot of times when I've noticed with myself as well as other people are not operating at a higher level because they're in fear or depression or whatever the case may be. We have shut down our creativity. And so I do an exercise which has helped me a lot, and I encourage other people to do, is get into your creativity. Write a story like if the wheels were off, if there was nothing holding you back. Just allow yourself to dream. Nothing's going to happen, right? You're not committing to anything. I'm not committing, but I'm just writing this story about, if I was, 5'7" and I had really long legs, and, what would that feel like? Because I'm looking for the feeling. I'm looking for the feeling. And when I get that feeling and I'm excited about that feeling, or I put my favorite song on and I'm excited about that feeling, that levels up my energy level. And then I'm open to more things, to a conversation with my coach or my friend or my mentor, and I'm open to receive. And the more that I do that, the more the things that aren't serving me fall away. So, and I become more self-aware, and I'm able to accurately assess myself when I'm feeling better. But when I'm not feeling well, it's difficult for me to be aware of other things and other people. And it's very difficult for me to assess myself accurately. And I believe, those are two very critical pieces in being emotionally mature. They're like the bedrock of being successful in my personal life and my professional life is being self-aware and accurately self-assessing. That's the brick and mortar for me.
I love that. I love that visualization that you take clients through too. It
Thank
really
you.
getting into the emotion of it, and me being more of a thinker, I think, than a feeler. If I can really have an image, it activates all the juices, and
Right.
then it's magic. It's magic.
I agree. Yeah. It's way more fun to think about that than, the checklist. I mean, the checklist is fun to think about as well because you're an achievement oriented woman and so am I. So I love the checklist. Check, 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 check. And I'm like, yes. And that also gives me energy. So being self-aware about who you are and what gives you juice is really important,
I
Yep.
love that. Yeah, because if you can get out of your head, you and imagine what it would feel like. Now we're using our imagination versus our memory. And that
Mhm.
imagination state is where we have creativity, where we're going to be creating possibilities, increased income, versus the fear comes from the memory of what's happened and maybe what we've done wrong in air quotes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you that's where anxiety is in the fear in the past and past experiences, things like that. And creativity is so incredibly powerful, but it's a bad habit. And, we have to, what we've learned is replacing trying to stop a habit through willpower. It doesn't work. But does work is replacing the bad habit with a new habit. That's why a coach really is helpful because they can help you think of some new habits when you default to the things that don't serve you anymore. That's why we like to work off the 4 B's in Rise Up For You. The backstory, the belief, the behavior, and then breaking that backstory because that was something that served us at one point in our lives when we needed to survive. But going forward now, it doesn't serve us anymore, but it's a habit. It's become a
Yeah.
habit. hmm hmm
Absolutely. I love that. I love diving in and remembering if I made up my backstory, if I made up my belief based on what
Right.
happened, I could remake it now. It's so powerful.
Mhm.
Well, Tammy, we love to sort of ask a closing question,
Sure.
and that is, what does Rise Up For You mean to you?
Great question, Lawrence. Well, it means I take it and look at it literally. Rising, I have to rise. I believe that we can't give what we don't have. I know that for a fact. That's very true for me. So I believe that rise up for you means that I want to and have to rise up for myself by practicing the 4 pillars in rise up for you and all the competencies. I have to rise up and do that so that I can bring the best version of myself to help you rise up. Or my children rise up, or other people in my life rise up. So that's what I love about our company is that we walk our talk. And I've, been in business a long time in some pretty big companies, and I have had that experience and seen what it looks like when that isn't lived by my mentors and my coaches and things like that. And at Rise Up For You, we all rise up for ourselves, living the values of what this company is all about. And therefore, we get to show up for you, our audience, and be authentic and help you rise up for yourself.
Oh, I love that. So inspiring. Well, thank you,
Thank
Tammy,
you.
for being on the podcast today and for all that you
My
do
pleasure.
in building people's confidence and emotional intelligence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Lauren, for all that you do because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and you always having my back. Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
You're so welcome. We have the best time together. Well, thank you so much. We thought we'd bring you a little insider series today from one of our awesome coaches and trainers here at Rise Up For You. Don't forget that you get your free success kit and your free coaching call. All you need to do is text RISE podcast to 949-416-0671. Until the next time that I see you, Rise Up For You.